Ladies, let me ask you something. Have you ever met a woman who's brilliant at her job, amazing with her friends, but somehow love just doesn't click? Maybe that woman is you. Smart women like you have sharp minds, big dreams, and strong opinions. And yet, when it comes to love, those very strengths can become stumbling blocks. You know what happens when a smart woman falls into overthinking? Love turns into a psychological crime scene. Every text becomes evidence to analyze. Why did he use a period instead of an exclamation mark? Why did he take 37 minutes to reply when he usually takes 12? Your Sherlock Holmes dissecting tone, timing, and subtext, except love isn't a mystery to solve, it's a feeling to experience. Your brain is wired to problem solve, but love thrives in the spaces between logic. The moment a man says, "I need some space," you spiral into decoding hidden meanings. Is he pulling away, testing me, seeing someone else? When maybe, just maybe, he genuinely needs space. The irony: the more you dissect his words, the less you hear his heart. Smart women often mistake overanalyzing for intuition, but intuition whispers while overthinking screams. You'll replay a 30-second voicemail searching for clues, ignoring the fact that he called at all. You'll obsess over why he didn't say, "I love you" first, missing how he shows it by fixing your laptop or picking up your favorite dessert after a bad day. Love isn't a contract where every clause must be negotiated. It's a language where silence and gestures speak as loudly as words. Your mind races ahead to "where is this going?" while your heart just wants to enjoy where you are. You'll ruin a perfect moment by wondering if it's too perfect. Is this love bombing? Is he manipulating me? Instead of letting yourself feel cherished. The tragedy: overthinking doesn't protect you from heartbreak, it protects you from love. Because love requires surrender to uncertainty, to imperfection, to moments that don't fit neatly into your mental frameworks. The man who loves you isn't a puzzle to crack, he's a person to embrace. So when you catch yourself drafting a 3-point rebuttal to his casual, "Hey, beautiful" text, pause, breathe, ask, am I trying to understand him or outsmart him? Put down the magnifying glass. Let love be easy before you make it hard. The curse of the checklist is that it tricks you into believing love is about finding someone who ticks every box rather than discovering someone who makes you forget the boxes ever existed. Smart women, especially those who've achieved success in careers or education, often approach relationships like a job interview, mentally scoring a man against an invisible rubric. Does he earn enough? Is his family respectable? Can he debate philosophy or at least pretend to care about it? But here's the brutal truth: the man who aces your interview might fail at holding you when you cry. The one who stumbles over his words on the first date might write you love letters that unravel you a year later. Your checklist assumes you already know what you need, but love has a way of revealing that half the things you thought were non-negotiables were just societal noise. You wanted a man who'd take you to Michelin-starred restaurants, but the one who remembers your weird midnight craving for stale convenience store chips becomes your forever. You swore you'd only date extroverts, then find yourself mesmerized by the quiet way he listens like you're the only person in the room. The checklist is a defense mechanism. It gives the illusion of control in a realm where control is the quickest way to kill magic. Worse, it blinds you to the man right in front of you. You dismiss someone because he's not as ambitious as you, not realizing his stability grounds your chaos. You reject another because he's divorced, missing how his scars taught him to love deeper. The checklist is rigid, love is fluid. It thrives in the unscripted moments, the way he dances with you in the kitchen when dinner burns, how he defends you to his mother even when you're wrong. The right man won't match your fantasy, he'll rewrite it. He'll lack the height or the job title or the passport full of stamps, but he'll have the one thing no checklist ever captures: the ability to see you, truly see you, and choose you not because you're perfect, but because you're his. And isn't that the point? To be chosen, not evaluated. To be loved, not audited. The tragedy isn't settling for less than your checklist. It's realizing too late that your checklist was measuring all the wrong things. Smart women wear vulnerability like a flaw to be fixed, as if needing someone is a weakness rather than the very thing that makes love possible. You've built a life where you control outcomes, excel at work, manage friendships, curate an impeccable image. But love demands surrender. It asks you to say, "I'm scared" instead of "I'm fine." To admit you miss him first. To let him see you without the armor of achievements or wit. And that terrifies you more than any failure ever could. Because what if you hand him your raw, unfiltered self, the one that still feels 15 sometimes, the one that worries she's too much yet not enough, and he doesn't know what to do with it? So you preemptively shut down. You turn intimacy into a performance, always composed, always logical, while secretly aching for him to notice the cracks. You wait for him to prove he's safe, but how can he when you never truly let him in? You mistake self-sufficiency for strength, but real courage is saying, "This thing inside me hurts, and I don't know how to fix it alone." The irony? The very things you hide, your fears, your messy emotions, are what would make him adore you beyond your resume. He doesn't fall for your competence. He falls for the way your voice wavers when you talk about your childhood dog, or how you cling to him during thunderstorms even though you'd never admit it. Love isn't a negotiation where power must stay balanced. It's a free fall where the only rule is to hold each other on the way down. Every time you swallow "I need you" and replace it with "I'm busy," you're not protecting yourself, you're starving the connection you crave. The man worth keeping won't mistake your vulnerability for fragility. He'll recognize it as the ultimate trust. He'll cherish the privilege of being let past the gates you keep so high. Because here's the secret you're too afraid to test. The right man doesn't love you despite your softness. He loves you because of it. Smart women often turn love into a battlefield of wits without realizing it. You're so accustomed to winning arguments that you forget relationships aren't debates to be dominated. When he says something naive about politics, your instinct isn't to understand his perspective, but to dismantle it with 3 counterpoints and a cited study. When he admits a fear, you problem solve instead of empathizing, slicing through his vulnerability with, "Well, actually," like a surgeon who forgets their job is to heal, not just be right. You've spent years sharpening your intellect like a weapon, but love isn't won by proving superiority. It thrives when you lay down your arms. Every conversation becomes a subtle power struggle. You correct his grammar mid-sentence, turn movie discussions into thesis defenses. Keep mental scorecards of who's more articulate in fights. But intimacy isn't built in the courtroom of your mind where every interaction gets cross-examined. It's built in the messy, unscripted moments where you stop performing brilliance and just exist together. The man who loves you doesn't need you to be the smartest person in the room. He needs you to be present in the room with him. Your intelligence isn't the threat, your inability to turn it off is. He's not your intellectual rival. He's the person who makes your coffee too sweet because he remembers that one time you said it comforted you. The tragedy isn't that you're too smart, it's that you've mistaken being right for being connected. Real love happens when you replace "you're wrong" with "tell me more." When you listen to understand instead of to respond. When you realize that sometimes what he needs isn't your brilliant analysis, but your hand in his, not your mind, but your heart, undefended and open. The paradox. The moment you stop competing for intellectual dominance is the moment you finally win at love. You keep trying to force love into neat little boxes, to analyze it like a spreadsheet, to predict its trajectory like a scientific formula. But here's the uncomfortable truth love won't let you ignore. The heart doesn't follow rules. You've created elaborate theories about how attraction should work. He must text within 2 hours, remember every anniversary, fit the exact blueprint of what a good partner looks like, yet the man who breaks all your rules might be the one who rewrites your entire understanding of love. The more you try to rationalize passion, the more life will send you someone who defies logic, the gruff mechanic who writes poetry only for you, the wealthy executive who can't string together a romantic sentence, but builds you a bookshelf with his bare hands. Love isn't a theorem to be proven. It's a wild, untamed force that laughs at your carefully constructed criteria. You want to believe if you just think hard enough, you can outsmart Heartbreak, study his patterns, decode his behaviors, create fail-safes against pain. But emotion isn't data. The man who checks every box might leave you cold, while the wrong one sparks something in your soul you can't explain. Your intellect wants love to be a puzzle where all the pieces fit, but real connection often looks more like two jagged edges that somehow, against all reason, create something whole. Stop trying to make it make sense. The magic happens in the contradictions, in the way his flaws become the very things you cherish, how the relationship that looked perfect on paper left you empty, while the messy, complicated one feels like home. Your mind screams warnings about the artist with unstable income, but your heart thrives on the way he sees colors you can't even name. You dismiss the quiet man who doesn't dazzle in social settings, missing how he's the only one who notices when your smile doesn't reach your eyes. The deepest loves often arrive in packages your logic would never approve, and that's exactly why they change you. Because love isn't about finding someone who fits your expectations, it's about discovering that the expectations themselves were too small. You've been sold a fairy tale version of love, the sweeping gestures, the lightning strike chemistry, the flawless prince who arrives exactly when he should. But real love doesn't happen in cinematic moments scored by orchestras. It happens in the quiet, ordinary spaces between grand events. The man who's meant for you won't recite poetry under your balcony. He'll be the one who remembers you hate cilantro and picks it out of your pho without being asked. You're waiting for some cosmic sign that he's the one while missing the actual evidence. How he listens to your rambling work stories even when he's exhausted. The way he defends you to his family. How he stayed even after seeing you at your worst. The fairy tale myth makes you dismiss good men for not being perfect. You reject the devoted father because he's divorced, overlook the kind soul because he's not mysterious enough, sabotage something real while chasing a fantasy. But here's what no one tells you. Lasting love isn't found, it's built. Brick by brick, day by unglamorous day. It's not about finding someone who meets all your expectations, but discovering that love transforms your expectations entirely. The right relationship won't feel like a Hollywood script, it will feel like coming home to yourself while being utterly surprised at the same time. Those Instagram perfect couples you compare yourself to, they're editing out the arguments, the doubts, the mundane Tuesday nights. Meanwhile, you're abandoning a real growing love because it doesn't match some imaginary standard. The magic isn't in perfection, it's in the way he knows exactly how you take your coffee, how he rubs your feet without being asked after your 12-hour shift, how he's built a life with you in all the small, essential ways that no storybook could ever capture. Stop waiting for fireworks when what you have is a steady flame, the kind that keeps you warm through all of life's winters. Smart women, you don't have to struggle in love. Just soften your mind, open your heart, and let love be love. Because the right man isn't the one who checks every box. He's the one who makes you forget there ever was a box. So put down the checklist, take a deep breath, and let yourself be loved just as you are.